say to you, and today's benefit is the beginning of the end. 1 Samuel 15:27-29 New Living Translation. As Samuel turned to go, Saul tried to hold him back and tore the hem of his robe. And Samuel said to him, "The Lord has turned the kingdom of Israel from you today, and has given it to someone else, one who is better than you. And he who is the glory of Israel will not lie, nor will he change his mind, for he is not human that he should change his mind." Upon delivering the verdict of the Lord about the reign of Saul, Samuel turned to go back to his place when Saul realized it was all over for him. The judgment was so weighty on Saul as the first king of Israel. It was a bad precedence for him and not a good legacy to leave behind. As Samuel turned to go, Saul grabbed his clothes to hold him back. Unfortunately, this was an attempt that further provoked the prophetic and finally sealed his fate out of the throne. Samuel's cloth was torn, and this inspired a prophetic voice that declared a replacement for Saul before his own very eyes. Let me use this opportunity to talk about the ministry of the prophet. There is an office of a prophet different from giving prophecy. It is against this backdrop that we must be careful when handling the office of a prophet. The prophet serves as the voice of God. They may not be 100% correct, but on many occasions, their voice is honored by the Lord, not because of who they are, but because of the office they hold. The office commands some authority that the personality might not carry when not in such an office. 1 Kings 17 verse 1 says in NLT, "Now Elijah, who was from Tishbe in Gilead, told King Ahab, 'As surely as the Lord, the God of Israel lives, the God I serve, there will be no dew or rain during the next few years until I give the word.'" At this point, we have no record of where God told Elijah to seal heaven from raining, but by the virtue of his office, he exercised authority to set things in order over Israel because of the way the king of Israel and his people were living. Therefore, we advise when you are consulting prophets to be sure of the grace upon the person and the God he or she serves, so that contrary words will not be spoken over your life. This particular day was the beginning of the end for Saul. From that day onward, the trouble for him on the throne began. Though he still held the title, he was no longer having the backing of the glory of Israel who put him on the throne. This demonstrates a situation where we see a man who falls and things are obviously going wrong. It was not that period that it started. There is always a time in destiny that commences that day of gloom and the day of glory. It was not the day David killed Goliath that his glory started. There was a day of turning point. 1 Samuel 16 verse 13 says in NLT, "So, as David stood there among his brothers, Samuel took the flask of olive oil he had brought and anointed David with the oil, and the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon David from that day on. Then Samuel returned to Ramah." That day was marked in destiny for David, and things began to follow the path of a future that he was anointed for. All the incidents and circumstances were only answering to what he carried. In the case of Saul, situations began to work against him on the throne from that day. This is a call for us to be sensitive to happenings around us, so that we know what season of life we are entering, and when the atmosphere is changing, it can help to position ourselves in the place of prayer. This is a call for us to be sensitive to happenings around us, so that we know. This is a call for us to be sensitive to happenings around us, so that we know what season of life we are entering, and when the atmosphere is changing, it can help us to position ourselves in the place of prayer. So Lord, let this day begin the journey of favorable events and end of all evil utterances over our lives in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thanks, and enjoy today's benefit.